Hey everybody, how you doing? Glad you could make it. We'll be starting up in just a bit. If you can, just please let me know how the audio is coming in, and we'll be starting shortly. Yes, we are going to unleash the Celente, Carl. See you guys in a bit. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television SBTV. I'm your host Patrick Vieira, and this is our live stream. So let's see if we can get through whatever comes, whatever technical difficulties may visit us, and of course, whatever good opinions and views that you have, and just plain old common sense. So let's all just get through this together. I'm glad you all could be here. Sunday, yeah, I think it's Labor Day weekend. Happy Labor Day weekend, I believe, if you're in the States. Glad you could be here. Europe, glad you're up with us, and over in Asia, Monday morning, Singapore, glad you're here as well. So again, just want to go through some names here. A little bit of a roll call. Polynesian Pip, how you doing? Aloha. One Royal Wolf, how you doing? Glad you could be here. Saul Goodman, audio great. Thank you for that. So appreciate it. Oliver the cat. No, 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 no. Don't ask where's Tony. Tony, maybe he's on somebody else's live stream right now, and that well, maybe that's a good or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. But okay, where's Tony? Sumari, how you doing? Thank you. Florida. Okay, okay, Florida. Oh, okay, yeah, it's pretty decent time there still. Matt, Marlo, how you doing? Richard, Gonzo Man, Ralph Steiner, how you doing, Ralph? Let's see, Ralph Steiner. Gerald is brutal on the elites killing the planets. I love it. Yeah, Gerald, he's going to say what's on his mind, and that's something pretty unusual these days. But you got to appreciate that, whether you agree or disagree. You got to love someone who's going to speak his mind and his conviction, and who can back it up as well. So that's one thing we all love and appreciate about Gerald. Seymour Rivers, how you doing? Spare a dime. First time I've seen your name here. Spare a dime. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Map of Tassie, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything is going well for you. Smooth sailing. C. Xavier, Link Smocker, glad you folks all could be here. And if you haven't had a chance or already haven't, if you haven't done so, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell to be notified on updates, and give us a thumbs up if you like what we do. We really do appreciate your support, guys. I think you all know that by now, and it's real. We really do appreciate your support. Silverbullion.com.sg is where you can find us on the web. We do sell gold and silver, things like that, even nickel, but we do specialize in systemic wealth protection. So if you have some concerns about what's going on right now, you definitely want to give us a call or contact us and see what maybe we could do for you or what your options may be. Systemic wealth protection, it's getting to be more and more relevant, more and more on people's minds. Silver Bullion SG is our Facebook handle. Silver Bullion PL is our Twitter handle. Audio versions bit.ly, bit.ly, SBTV, iTunes, or SBTV Spotify. And Crisis Tracker. Again, this is a group that we have on Telegram. So if you have you can download it on your desktop. You can download it on your mobile phone. Telegram. Download that app and join our Crisis Tracker group. And from here, what you're going to find is pretty much daily. What we do is we post news as it pertains to the economy, finance, gold, silver. It's a way to stay updated with things, and it's important that we do stay updated. So it kind of helps you trying to filter through things. We go ahead and we will post things for you to see what's going on and hopefully help you with your decisions. So again, glad you all could be here again. Let's see. Max Strong, greetings. Nicholas Nasty. Be nice now. That's okay. Nicholas, how you doing? Elliot Wasser, how you doing? South Florida. Okay. A lot of Floridians here. Another one from Miami, Broward person. Okay. Okay, so Florida's in the house. Well represented, that's for sure. Minnesota, Shelly, how you doing? Hope things there are getting a bit more calm. Xavier, thank you for that. See Xavier. Um, okay, Jeff Brown, Indiana. Okay, yeah. I mean, if we're succeeding, it's because of all of you. And again, we thank you for that. Um, it really does mean a lot to us again. So what I want to do right now, as a way to say thank you, is we're going to play our He Said What game. And this week's thank you is Jim Rickards' ebook, Aftermath. It's a Wall Street Journal bestseller, financial expert, investment advisor, and New York Times bestselling author James Rickards shows why and how global financial markets are being artificially inflated and what smart investors can do to protect their assets. So, house rules for this game to win Jim Rickards' ebook: download the Kindle app from your phone or from your tablet's app store. It does work for either iPhones or Android phones. It's a free app, so you can go ahead and download that. Be the first to answer in this live stream before the timer runs out. I think we're going to have about a minute 30 seconds to go ahead and answer the question. So it has to be answered here during this live stream within that time. U.S. winners will be given a link to download the ebook, and winners outside the U.S. will be offered an alternative prize at our discretion. Again, the reason for that is because Amazon, for some reason, they don't allow these ebooks to be given as gifts outside of the U.S. So again, it's not us; it's Bezos. I think maybe we should get him on and ask him why he does that, right? So, and the other thing, you're going to have to provide us an email during this live stream so we can go ahead and send you the book. My colleague Vincent, he's standing by, and what he'll do is he'll hide your comment so that way when you do post your email, nobody will see it. So that's how we'll go ahead and work it out. So, having said that, is everybody ready? Because you got a minute and 30 seconds. So, here's the question. In last week, Gerald Celente's interview, what did Gerald say about the lockdown? How many billionaires got how much richer? I'm looking for the number of top billionaires and the dollar amount that they have gotten richer. Okay, so we'll be looking for this answer. Number of top billionaires and the dollar amount that they got richer. It was something that Gerald Celente said during the interview. So it's a two-part answer. Okay. Oliver the Cat, 66612. I'm guessing that's the number of top billionaires. We need the other part of it. So there you go. One royal wolf. There you got. There you go. There you go. 12. 12 of the top billionaires got $1 trillion richer. Oliver the Cat, you're so close. You were so close. You just needed the other half. Let me go through it again and make sure we got that right. Yep. One royal wolf. He seems to got both correct before anyone else. Sorry, Tanis Christie. We will be able to. You're coming to Singapore. Yeah, visit us. Come by the shop. Come by the store. Take a look around. Meet the guys. I might be there as well. Don't know if that means anything to you, but you stop by. Yeah, definitely you want to meet the guys. So one royal wolf, what will happen is Vincent should be getting in touch with you, and he'll go ahead and hide your comment, and then that way you can go ahead and give him your email. And just to verify that you did get it right, here's that clip from Gerald Celente.
They don't care about the people. They care about the banksters, the gangs. Since they locked down everything in America, 12 of the billionaires, the top billionaires, got $1 trillion richer. Yeah, fact.
Fact, according to Gerald Celente. I think that number, it does vary, though. I mean, I've heard some guys say it's a different number. One of you guys left a comment on our YouTube channel that it was a different number as well. Whether it's rounded off or whatever metric he got it from. I think the point is still the same. You know, a few people have gotten a whole lot richer. That is for sure. So who else is getting richer? Are we getting richer? Let's check that silver and gold price and see how it's doing. Let me go ahead and screen share. Let me refresh this. So let's see how most of us are doing. What's going on with silver and gold? So again, this is our webpage, silverbullion.com.sg. We are in Singapore. 75% off transfer in charges, meaning if you do want to go ahead and store with us, we're offering a very big discount, 75% off. And what happens is when your bullion comes into us, we go ahead and test it, which is also a bonus for you because then you will absolutely know if what you have is real. A lot of vaults will not test whatever goes in the vault. We're a bit different in a lot of ways. In many ways, we do things differently. Silver, 26.76, a little bit down. It was floating about $27 earlier, so it's just come back a little bit down. Gold, 1934 an ounce, still hanging above the all-time high of 1920. Nickel, we talked about this earlier. It is continuing to move. It's at 15,000 per ton. We do also sell nickel. This nickel is class 1 nickel. Class 1 nickel is used in electric vehicle batteries, which do look like they are going to be the future. A lot of countries already have said they're making a move towards electric vehicles, and that would mean nickel nickel is on the radar, and it's been going up this year. That's for sure. Slowly but surely, it's been going up. P2P rates. These are for people who store with us. When you do store with us, you can go ahead and use your gold and silver as collateral to take out a secure, low interest rate loan. So, on one half, this green side here, you need to have gold and silver stored with us, platinum as well, palladium, whatever it may be. You need to have it stored with us. And then what you can do is set your own request, how much you want to borrow and at what rate and for how long. And someone up here will make a lending offer. What they do is they list how much they're willing to lend at how for how long and at what rate. So we're basically just a platform, but the main thing to understand is if you do have gold and silver, you can still use it, redeploy your assets. If you do have a little bit of extra cash lying around, you can go ahead and put in lending offers and maybe get a bit of a better interest rate than you would outside. So these are two pretty good things to look at. Gold and silver ratio 72.3. We were down 69, almost 68 last week. We're back up to 72 right now. So that ratio is still hanging around the low 70 area. So I should I'd expected to see it break 70 sometime, and I mean sometime soon anyway. It's just too close. It's been hanging around too long, and each time silver gets hit, it does come back up pretty quick. So that should be a interesting thing to watch and key on. So let me take a look at Twitter here. Some things that I bookmark. Lawrence Lepard. China moves away from the US dollar ahead of digital yuan. This is an article from Zero Hedge. Okay. We'll get into this one a little bit later because I think there's another article also. Bubble, bubble, toil, and trouble. David Rosenberg, no matter how you slice it, markets are in a bubble of historic proportions. And that is true. I think we're all seeing this huge disconnect right now between the markets and the economy. So, no matter how you slice it, markets are in a bubble of historic proportions. And the higher they are, the harder they fall. And this is what we talked about with systemic wealth protection. If you're seeing this, you definitely want to contact us because this is something we do specialize in, probably more than a lot of other bullion dealers. Um, so get in touch with us. We're in a huge bubble right now. Vaccine or no vaccine, economic and earnings recovery or not, with or without the massive monetary creation by the U.S. Federal Reserve, this is a bubble of historic proportions. And this is coming from Financial Post, and it was just released September 2nd. So this article is also on our Telegram group. Some will say that the valuations are supported by interest rates. Frankly, real 10-year rates moved into negative terrain in January before the stock market plunged and before the recession began. Now they have become even more negative. And this is what a lot of us we're still trying to wrap our head around, but it is true. There's actually no such thing as a free lunch. And the thing about negative rates is that they coexist over time with a flat economy. And that economy is where earnings are derived from. Don't be fooled by the fact that the monthly US data are beating expectations. Expectations like earnings. At the margin, economic momentum is starting to wane in the more up to date data. The bounce we saw previously in consumption growth is ebbing. Initial U.S. jobless claims are back, rising at a 1 million pace over the past 2 weeks. The latest information on mobility, retail traffic, and airline activity has softened, and bankruptcies are mounting. So, again, this is the disconnect between the economy and the markets. And again, a lot of people are seeing this. Some people they continue to stay in the markets. They're under the assumption that the Fed is going to, or central banks will continue to pump markets and economies. And other people they've left. They left the markets and they've already gotten to other safe haven assets, of course, like silver and gold. Probably like most of you out there. So we'll go ahead and take a look at a few more articles on Twitter. Hang on, just let me get back to there. Okay, so that was David Rosenberg from Financial Post. Nomi Prince, two-thirds of the total wealth in this country is owned by the richest 5%. At the same time, more than 38 million Americans are living in poverty, and it's projected that up to 54 million people might not have enough to eat this year. So this is coming from CBS Sunday Morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick. I think there's a video here, but I'll just look at part of the video, not the whole thing. So we'll go ahead and let it load up. Okay.
Millions of Americans, through no fault of their own, are paying the price this Labor Day holiday for America's worsening economic inequality. Here's Jill Schlesinger.
My name is Tiana Caldwell.
I'm AJ Caldwell.
And I'm Derek.
Before the pandemic struck, the Caldwell family of Kansas City was just making ends meet. Derek was working as an electrician. Tiana was training office workers. AJ was looking forward to playing football after school.
If you go back to the beginning of March, were you busy? Was it slow? What was going on for you?
It was busy, and then it was just like everything just stopped.
You might say COVID-19 infected the family's finances. Their jobs dried up, exposing a stark reality. They had no safety net.
Were you able to save any money before the pandemic hit?
No.
So just paycheck to paycheck, right?
Okay, let me minimize this a little bit. Might be easier on the bandwidth for it to load. So basically, this family, their finances are getting hit by COVID, like a lot of us. A lot of people's finances are getting hit right now.
Friends from friends.
The Caldwells also got help from KC Tenants, a Kansas City housing rights organization founded by Tara Raghavir.
The pandemic has only laid bare inequities that have existed in our country for a long time.
It's nothing new. Last year, the Census Bureau found income inequality was at its highest level in 50 years. Consider this. 2/3 of the total wealth in this country is owned by the richest 5%. At the same time, more than 38 million Americans are living in poverty, and it's projected that up to 54 million people might not have enough to eat this year.
Okay, so this is very real. I mean, we're talking about people not having enough to eat. We are seeing the wealth gap separating. But at the same time, you're having a bit of a wealth effect where people are feeling good about the economy because they're seeing the stock markets go up, but yet a lot of people don't really even own stocks. So it's a bit of a strange thing where what people are seeing is probably different from what they're hearing. And this is where you really have to pay attention to things and really try and digest and understand, well, how can the markets be going up when a lot of people, they're having a rough time making ends meet, much less putting food on the table. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few more articles from Twitter. Okay, so hang on, let me get out of that. Okay, so we'll scroll down to the next one. Google has a master plan to build a massive corporate town for its employees. This kind of reminds me of, remember the old miners. They'd have to set up their own towns to support their ventures. They had their own shops. Some even had their own currency. So this is pretty interesting that Google is planning to build a massive corporate town for its employees. Maybe let's just take a quick peek at this one as well. So this is coming from Forbes. Okay, so Google has a plan. It's going to build a massive corporate town for its employees. Let's dive in. With Google, Twitter, Facebook, and other leading companies calling for people to work from home for the foreseeable future, it looked highly likely that remote work would become the standard in a post-bug world. However, recent announcements from Amazon and Alphabet, Google's parent company, show that we cannot take the everyone is going to work from home trend as a done deal. Alphabet announced this week that it's proposing constructing a massive company town project in Mountain View, California. The tech behemoth will build a combination of houses, retail stores, parks, and recreations, and a corporate campus spanning 40 acres. Google's future is taking a page from the past. During the late 1800s, America experienced an economic boom. Company-owned towns flourished, fueled by corporations seeking workers to extract natural resources such as gold, coal, and lumber. The gold rush has brought in thousands of 49ers from across the country, which led to the growth of San Francisco. Okay, so that's Google. What's old is new again, right? Or I should say, nothing new under the sun. We're seeing these. I think this is going to pop up more and more, actually. Um, okay, next, just a few more articles from Twitter. Harold Malmgren. Almost one third of the workforce might continue to work from home 3 to 5 years, according to Morgan Stanley, would shift overhead costs from employer to employee, curb commercial real estate demand, alter lifestyles, lasting economic effects. So he's ending that with a question. That is true. I mean, a lot of people are working from home nowadays. Quote the Raven, there it is. China will further cut holdings of U.S. bonds from current level of above 1 trillion to about 800 billion as it worries about U.S. crackdown and risks of ballooning U.S. deficit. This is something I think we should take a look at as well. It is important. This is also on our Telegram group. So again, if you do join it, you're gonna pretty much be up to speed with things. Let me see if I can make this text a bit bigger. It's kind of small there. Okay. Okay. Amid rising tensions, China likely to reduce U.S. debt holdings. Sorry about that. Debt holdings. China may gradually reduce its holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds to about 800 billion from the current level of more than 1 trillion as ballooning U.S. federal deficit increases default risks and the Trump administration continues its blistering attack on China, experts say. Now, this isn't a left or right thing. This is just something that is factually happening. So let's just take it at face value. China, the world's second largest holder of U.S. debt, has been systemically but determinedly trimming its holdings of U.S. bonds in recent years. In the first 6 months of this year, China dumped about 106 billion worth of U.S. Treasury bonds. On a yearly basis, China's holdings of U.S. bonds dropped by about 3.4% as of the end of June. China will gradually decrease its holdings of U.S. debt to about 800 billion under normal circumstances, but of course, China might sell all this is an important word, all of its U.S. bonds in an extreme case like military conflict. Zi Zhonghyang, a professor at the Shanghai University of Finance and Economics, told the Global Times last week. One reason for the bond selling is because Beijing is increasingly concerned about the potential risks being surging, the risks behind the surging debt level in U.S. Or in the U.S., as their experts have said, and that is true. Even it's not just China getting concerned about that; it's even U.S. citizens themselves, it's Europeans, it's people over in Asia. Everyone's getting concerned, and part of it is because the U.S. is the reserve dollar that handles most of the world's trade. So there is a huge concern in this. U.S. Congressional Budget Office said on Wednesday that the amount of debt due or issued by the U.S. government will amount to about 98% of U.S. GDP this year. 98% of GDP, a level not seen since the end of World War II and well beyond the internationally recognized safety line of 60%. A lot of guys talk about this 60, 70%. Once it gets above that, it does get to be pretty dicey. And again, China and other countries are seeing this. The federal deficit is projected to surpass the U.S. economy size in 2021. So I guess we can end that one there. It is concern for everyone. If these treasuries are being sold off, it's we're going to see a spike, and it's not a good thing. Nick Lenz, a person needs a purpose. When you take that from them, they riot and act out. Money never has and never will be a substitute for personal worth. I think that's true. Every man needs to know his worth, his value, not necessarily in monetary gains, but just to know that they do have a value and a place. The job is more than people think. Giving people free money has never brought any society happiness, only pain. And the last one we'll take a look at from Dan Collins. I'm still trying to understand how stock markets and soup lines reach all-time highs at the same time. True. That is true. How do stock markets and soup lines, how can they both be at or near all-time highs? So that's again, that shows the disconnect. Without doubt, it shows the disconnect. So let's see what's out there. What are you guys talking about? Let me see if I can find anything that mom and the kids can take a look at as well. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through some comments here. I just want to see if there's anything we can pull up. Yeah, you guys got some pretty good comments. I'm not sure if mom and the kids can take a look at it though. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on a bit. And what I want to do is take a look at. I think I missed something actually. Yeah, I better get back to our upcoming guest. I don't think I brought this up. Upcoming guest is going to be Jimmy Morrison, who is a filmmaker. So first time we're going to have a filmmaker, but he is an economist. He does have or hold an economy degree, and he is the creator of the film The Housing Bubble. On SBTV. So we're looking forward to what what he has to say. So getting back to Gerald Celente, I want to revisit his interview. There were so many things that he said that were pretty profound, and I think they're great things for us to discuss. And then if there's time, I just want to roll one clip about the gig economy, the forgotten economy yet essential economy. A lot of us, we needed these gig workers, these food delivery people when we were locked down. first lockdown anyway, second lockdown as well. So it's kind of like the forgotten economy, the forgotten people. So, just want to take a look at it if we have time. But let's get back to Gerald Celente. So I'll roll the first clip on something Gerald said that we can discuss.
So they're going to do everything they can to keep these markets artificially propped up. And when you look at the numbers, for example, in Americans' markets, the Dow and the NASDAQ, it's only a few companies that are pushing these things artificially higher. Hey, you want to buy some Boeing stock? No, no, no. Maybe American Airlines. How about Disney World? Oh, yeah. How about Disney World? The theme parks. They're down in the toilet. How about AMC? The theater businesses. Oh, yeah, they're doing great. How about all the hotel chains? You want to buy them? Oh, yeah, everybody's going to hotels. They're packed. Tourists are everywhere. You can't get in the streets of New York and Manhattan. They're so packed with people. It's a ghost town. It's a ghost town. And I'm a New Yorker. I'm a real New Yorker. I'm a Bronx New Yorker. I know New York. And this New York is dead.
Okay, so I'm just reading through some comments. Okay, I'll see what I can do about that to make sure it's working next time. Okay, I'll take a look into that. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So Gerald, this is something we touched on last week, where people are leaving bigger cities, whether it's the bug or working from home for whatever reasons they are leaving the bigger cities, and it's something that we spoke about, and we even touched on the evictions, where you simply cannot have large numbers of people moving into shelters. Something needs to happen, or needed to happen, in order for them to be a bit safer. Remember, these are families, husbands, wives, children. As we said last week, everyone needs a place to live, love, and learn. Correct. So we touched on this last week, and we spoke about how the government is going to have to do something, and they're going to have to get involved. And like clockwork, they did. And we have the CDC saying no more evictions, for the rest of the year. Let me go ahead and take a look at that. There is an article about this. This is coming out from CNBC, where historic CDC order bans evictions through the end of the year. So here's what to know. Cancel rent. Depends which side of the door you're on. If you're living in that rental unit, yes, you want to cancel rent. If you're on the outside of that door, the landlord, no, you don't want that rent canceled. So depends on how you really view things. Answering calls from housing advocates and cash-strapped tenants across the country, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued a 4-month eviction moratorium on Tuesday. The order could help as many as 30 to 40 million people who are at risk of losing their homes during the bug, according to estimates from the Aspen Institute. Let me go ahead and take a look at this real quick. I think it's a PDF. So basically, this is coming from the Department of Health and Human Services, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Summary. This is basically what we need to know. Center for Disease Controls, or CDCs, and Prevention, located within the Department of Health and Human Services, announces the issuance of an order under Section 361 of the Public Health Service Act to temporarily halt residential evictions to prevent the further spread of the bug. And so this is directly from CDC. So residential evictions are temporarily halted under the order to prevent the further spread. It applies to individuals expecting to earn less than $99,000 and couples expected to earn less than $198,000. I would assume this is almost everyone. It's quite a bit of money. So if you're making less than that in 2020, you may fall under this Protection Act from CDC, where you won't be evicted. They don't want you to have to move into another home, with family or friends, and increase the numbers living in the home. So many of the details are still being ironed out, including how the order will be enforced. let's see. Okay, but tenants will need to apply for the relief from their landlords using the declaration at the bottom of this CDC form. So I'm just doing this just in case it may apply to you or someone you know. So you just scroll down to the bottom here, and then there's going to be some guidelines or criteria when you get to the bullet point section. So let me just go down a bit quicker. So these are some of the guidelines: unable to pay full rent, things like that. All these bullet points, and then at the very bottom, you're going to have a place where you can go ahead and sign signature of declarant. So let me see if I can pass this link on to you guys in case you may need to give it to someone else to hopefully give them some relief. Okay, so we'll let me close this up. So tenants have to demonstrate that they are unable to pay rent due to the bug and that they already used their best efforts to apply for all governmental housing aid and that they are eligible for, like local emergency assistance programs that have popped up in states like Arizona, Virginia. Landlords who do not agree with their tenant's self-assessment can try to bring eviction proceedings by arguing that their tenant is not a covered person as defined by the CDC, which again is in that PDF. It would then fall to a housing court to make a judgment, which could take weeks or months. So what the CDC is doing is historic. We've never seen the federal government do something as broad as this nationwide eviction order, says Almodovar. That said, this really is just a pause. It's a meaningful interim step, but it's a short-term fix. Okay, so curious what you all think of that one with the CDC and these eviction bans. Some of you guys may be thinking, do they even have the power to do this? So again, what do you guys think? As you gather and express your thoughts on that, I'm going to take you to another website. But again, just keep putting your comments. I'm really curious to see what you guys are thinking out there. Can the CDC do this? So this is coming from The Hill. Trump eviction ban test limits of CDC authority. So again, let's not look at this from a political view. This is just a current event, a situation that we need to take care of as not just as a country, but as a people, because this is happening worldwide. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention on Tuesday last week issued an order banning landlords. Okay, we saw that part already. It's definitely unprecedented, says a law professor. And CDC has really broad authority on its face, but it's never pushed the boundaries of that authority. So it does look like it obviously is legal. It is something that they can do, especially because of the situation of what's going on. U.S. is facing the most severe housing eviction crisis in its history, and this moratorium is a critical measure to prevent those evictions from happening, says another professor. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this thing it's not done. By no means is this done. It's gonna continue. Continue meaning we're gonna have to see more and more relief that's coming out. And again, this does play into the economy. How does it affect gold and silver? Well, it affects the economy where if we're going to see, a lot of instability going on where you don't know what your government's going to do. You as a landlord, you may not know if you're going to be getting your income. You're continuing to see your central bank pumping up the markets, creating money. It does all affect gold and silver. These are reasons why you should have some gold and silver. It's the instability is incredible right now. You just don't know what any government is going to do right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at a second clip from Gerald Celente. Elbo Sanchez, aloha, how are you doing? Gerald Celente, one more time.
They will do anything to destroy the higher prices of gold. But let's go back to last year, 2019. What central banks bought more gold last year than they did in 50 years. So they know it's going down. That's why we saw that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we said this thing was going to go up. Watch what the central banks are doing. They know this is all BS. And again, we made that forecast of the gold bull run in our Trends Journal on June 6, 2019. when gold is $1,332 an ounce. And these people are saying that it's going to go to 5, 15, 20. It can. But the governments are going to do everything they can to make it not happen.
Okay. So again, we have the markets hitting all-time highs. Governments are trying to suppress gold. Um, Markets all-time highs. Soup kitchens all-time highs. Assistants all-time highs. Help me understand this. I mean, I think help each other to understand this right now. How does it make any sense right now? How does this work? And really, what do governments fear about gold? Um, they fear gold because they know that when people start moving into it, start really moving into it, they know that people have lost confidence. And that's hugely important because what is money? Money is really whatever we have confidence in to be money. And if we don't have confidence in the money that we're using right now or the currency we're using right now, we're going to walk away. We're going to walk away and look for alternative things, which probably is why also central banks are looking at alternative things. As you know, they are creating central bank digital currencies. So, although I pointed out last week, when you have the Fed buying corporate debt and giving the biggest companies a lifeline or a phone a friend and say, hey, Uncle Jerome, lend me and the boys 500 billion. It seems there are zero, nothing, nada, fundamentals left in the markets, and only the belief that the Fed will keep the markets afloat, pump it up, and guys are in there for FOMO, fear of missing out, and some of it is even greed. You know, it's greed. A lot of it is greed right now in the markets, where you got other people. They are already seeing this and moving into safe haven assets, and we've already know, supplies. I'm not going to say they're extremely tight, but you do want to make sure that you already are taking up a position in gold and silver. That's for sure. So let me take a look at some of your comments, and I'll roll over or roll on to another Gerald Celente clip. Okay, so let's see what are you guys talking about there? See, Xavier, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. Okay, yeah, I think you probably gave a lot of guys a little bit of a heart attack with that one. Yeah, government is here to help us. But it's true they are helping people, but then again, it there is a lot of instability that's coming with this relief. And again, it's one of the reasons why China is looking at dumping a lot of its treasuries right now. A lot of countries don't have too much confidence or faith in the U.S., much less the U.S. dollar right now. And I think we're heading to a place that maybe none of us have ever been to or seen in our lifetime, without question. So let me move on to another Gerald Celente clip. Yeah, Xavier, you can smile on that one. But Gerald, with all this money printing that's going on, why is the Fed's money printing not helping Main Street?
They don't care about Main Street. Too big to fail. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Too big to fail, but you little piece of crap, you could die. Hey, our parties, they're too big to fail. But you're nothing. All you are is a worker, a plantation worker in Slavelandia. They don't care about the people. They care about the banksters, the gangs. Since they locked down everything in America,
Yeah.
12 of the billionaires, the top billionaires, got $1 trillion richer. Yeah, fact.
Okay, and so let's move on and kind of confirm what Gerald Celente is saying. This was back in May, so the numbers obviously they have gotten higher since then. So this is back in May of 2020. American billionaires got $434 billion richer during the pandemic. Amazing stuff, right? U.S. billionaires saw their fortunes soar by $434 billion during the nation's lockdown between mid-March and mid-May, according to a new report. Amazon's Jeff Bezos and Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg had the biggest gains. Bezos added $34.6 billion to his wealth, and Zuckerberg picked up a cool $25 billion. So let me Go down here a bit. The billionaire gains highlight how the bug has rewarded the largest and most tech focused companies, even as the company and labor force grapples with the worst economic crisis in recent history. According to the report, the net worth of America's billionaires grew some 15% during the 2 month period to 3.382 trillion from just under 3 trillion. The biggest gains were at the top of the billionaire pyramid, with the richest five billionaires, Bezos, Gates, Zuckerberg, Buffett, and Larry Ellison, seeing a combined wealth gain of 76 billion. Elon Musk, he's also in there, had among the largest percentage gain of billionaires during the 2 months, seeing his net worth jump by 48% in the 2 months to 36 billion. Zuckerberg was close behind, seeing his wealth surge by 46% in the 2 months to 80 billion. Bezos' wealth increased by 31% to 147 billion. And also his ex-wife, Mackenzie Bezos, who received Amazon shares through their divorce, also saw her wealth increase by a third, up to 48 billion. Quite a bit of money that people have made. What can you say but good for them, right? They've killed it. They've hit it. There are people who are making it, and then there are people who are struggling. No doubt, the rich have definitely gotten richer there. So, as mentioned last week, though, I showed how the Fed is going to give the big company, big boys, $500 billion boost that they can use in any way they want, including more executive pay, including letting workers go. So I want to give you one more perspective on people moving out from big cities like New York. So, what I'm trying to say is, they are going to get more help from the Fed. And even within that, you're seeing people upper crust. They're leaving the bigger cities as well. So I just want to roll a clip on that.
The sprawling estates and mansions that have languished on the market for years are now getting a second wind thanks to COVID in part. Our Robert Frank has more on that this morning. Hey, Robert.
Good morning, Carl. Wealthy New Yorkers leaving the city are now looking for the 3 Ps. You've got property, privacy, and a pool. And the big estates in Westchester, Connecticut, and northern New Jersey that sat on the market for years with a lot of price cuts are now back in demand. This 4-acre waterfront spread in Greenwich just sold to a family moving out of the city. Price tag $17 million, making that the most expensive sale of the year in Connecticut. It's got views of the Long Island Sound, formal gardens, and your own golf green. Now, the Stone Mansion in Alpine, New Jersey, that's been on the market for 10 years. It had its price cut from $65 million to $36 million. Last month, a potential buyer toured the property and offered to rent it for $500,000 a month. That's just to rent it. The owner turned it down in hopes of a sale. And the late Leona Helmsley's former 40-acre estate in Greenwich called Round Hill Manor that had been listed once for $50 million dropped last year to $16.5 million because of a lack of buyers. Now, the broker says he's had 7 showings just in the past month, and there is serious interest because 40 acres, guys, could buy you a lot of social distance.
$500,000 a month in rent. That's quite a large sum of money. Quite a large amount of money. So let me take a look at some things here. So, we're seeing homes outside of big cities selling for some incredible prices, and this is where the wealthy is moving to. 40 acres can buy you a lot of social distance, as that gentleman said. Not sure how to take that, but I think there was a movie where people lived in districts according to their status, and it's not anything new. All you need to do is simply check the tax filings, and you're going to see where these districts are. If you think I'm joking, all you need to really do is measure that with the zip codes, and you're going to find out where the richest people live, and also poorest is maybe not the best word to say, but where they live as well. So the old adage about real estate is that the three most important things are location, location, location. And according to a new study, this is actually back in 2018, there might be more truth to that saying for America than ever before. The study identified zip codes with the richest people and poorest people by examining four key metrics, including their median household income, mean household income, percentage of households earning 150,000 or more, and percentage of households earning $25,000 or less. Then it's weighted. Each zip code it's weighted and scored in each category, and they came up with a comprehensive list of which neighborhoods across the country are home to the nation's richest and poorest residents. So when they're moving out of these big cities, these are the places that they may be heading to. The results demonstrate a considerable regional divide, and this is really the point. We have the wealth gap, and now we're also having a physical geographical gap between the nation's poorest zip codes and the well the well off zip codes. Um, I'll just get down to this chart here, so you can see Pennsylvania, Oregon, Ohio, Arizona. That kind of surprised me. Pennsylvania again. A little bit more hardship here. Definitely more hardship. Percentage of people under 25,000 a year. You can see the percentages are pretty high there. Then you have the other places: Glenview, Kentucky, Mendham, New Jersey, Atherton, California, Fisher Island. I know Fisher Island is usually in the top five always. Garrison and Pikesville, Maryland. So you can see percentage under 25,000, zero. Nobody makes less than that. Percentage over 150,000. Mendham, New Jersey, 100%. All of them make more than 180 or 150,000 a year, which it is doable, especially I suppose if you married couple, you can obtain that. But these are the zip codes where these people are flocking to. Um, okay, so hang on, let me get to this part here. The zip codes, they expose the geography of the wealth divide, um, and this wealth divide is something that is just getting bigger and bigger, and it's part of what I think people all over the world. It's part of the reason why they are starting to rise up. They're having discontent. They're unhappy. It's not just maybe a political thing. It's very much so an economic thing. And again, these are reasons why you want to be holding gold and silver, because really when there's too much chaos, too much turmoil, it flows into governments, it flows into economies, and it really starts to magnify how challenging things are. And this is again why you really want to have a position in gold and silver, really understand what they do, because a lot of people again they're stuck on the price. How's gold today? How's silver today? It's more than just the price. This is your hedge, your insurance for the things that we are exactly seeing happening today. And so you do want to take a position. And something we touched on perhaps a year ago: learn to go stealth with your wealth. Not meaning, hide money from the government or anything like that. It means as you see more and more unrest happening around you, there's ways we need to kind of blend in. You don't want to necessarily stand out too much. It may be in your best interest to sort of blend in a bit more. You don't just blend in as best you can, because there's a lot of people who are having hardships. Not saying you shouldn't enjoy, the fruits of your labor. You shouldn't enjoy, what you worked for. Not saying that at all. Just saying that you know, there's a lot of growing unhappiness out there. So we try to balance the two as best we can. But of course, you should enjoy what you worked for as well. And one idea being floated around is where the richest should pay a one-time levy or a one-time pandemic wealth tax on their windfall gains. This is just an opinion piece from Market Watch. So I saw a comment where somebody said, "Why don't they help people? The richest, why don't they help people?" Well, there's an idea floating around. Maybe they'll have some type of a wealth tax. So nothing symbolizes the inequality of sacrifice during the bug pandemic more than watching a few hundred billionaires gain while everyone else struggles through job losses, debilitating illness, and death. Hundreds of thousands are affected. U.S. households lost an estimated 6.5 trillion in wealth during the first quarter of 2020 alone. Is it time to levy an emergency wealth tax on billionaire profiteers and direct these funds to offset the cost of the nation's healthcare cost? Um, it's that one is it's a difficult call. I mean, I do understand people work hard for their money. They've earned it. They deserve to go ahead and put it into assets that they want. And I do understand. There's a lot of hardship out there. So where do we go with this? Where really do we go? Um, I Where do you go? It's again, it's a tough call. So what I'll do is I will head into another clip from Celente because there is that wealth gap, that wealth divide, but somehow we still have to unite in some way. We have to come together. But here's another clip from Gerald Celente. Is the answer to this, or bringing back the economy, is the answer a vaccine?
Oh no, that'll make a lot of people happy, and that'll slow things down. Look, you just heard in Australia, the prime minister, another piece of little garbage crap. All these politicians are just Google up the definition of politician. Someone that's manipulative and devious, typically to gain advancement within an organization. They're saying everybody has to get vaccinated. Here in the States, they just announced in Massachusetts, everybody that goes to school under 30 years old has to get a flu shot. University of California, everybody, students, teachers, workers, have to get flu shots. It's a takeover. The drug mob, you got it? We talked before about the gangsters on Wall Street, the criminal cult. They call them investors. They're criminals. You got the drug mob and the money mob. And now the drug mob is in control. Yeah, things will get better when everybody gets vaccinated and they'll ease up a little bit. Oh, you got to get on that airplane, you got to be vaccinated. You want to get your driver's license, you got to be vaccinated. Yeah. You want your kids to go to school, they have to be vaccinated now, and they'll be vaccinated again. And there's nothing wrong with these vaccinations. We'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with them. It's like in America, because of that other slimy piece of garbage crap that was President Clinton, he allowed advertisers, drug advertisers, to do advertisements on TV. You hear these minute advertisements, and that's all they run. Oh, and the people running through forest. Oh, we're so happy. We got the drug. We're feeling great. And then they give you the, how it's going to affect you in a negative way. And that's another half a minute. Oh, you may lose your brains and your heart might fall out. And all of but, all right. So, yeah, you're right. When they get us vaccinated, then it'll come back.
Okay, some pretty strong words there, but I want to put up a point from James Orman because I think you hit it on the head. Great comment. We look at these billionaires, but really they are small peanuts compared to the giant firms such as BlackRock, Vanguard, as he's named. But the point being, the Fed, because they are pumping up the markets, they are pumping up companies. They're basically saying who's going to survive, which companies are going to survive, which companies are going to fail. This is, in my opinion anyway, a lot of people as well, what is fueling the divide. It may not necessarily be, people who have earned. So I don't want to point, the compass in their direction, not at all. If anything, this is where the Fed has a lot to do with it, with what they are doing. So, James, that's a great point. Let's stay focused. And, if we're going to fix anything, we need to know what needs to be fixed. And I think from where a lot of us sit, what needs to be fixed is really, it's really the Fed. So let me go and back to Gerald Celente. You lose your brain and your heart will fall out. Classic. You lose your brain, your heart will fall out. So let me ask you guys, is the vaccine the solution to get the economy going again? And even if it is, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a while. Even if, it came about today, uh, economies are still going to take a while to get back on track. So this isn't an overnight fix. And again, something we need to understand. And what if it doesn't work? It may work, it may not work, don't know. But again, this is where you really should understand the hedge or the insurance that gold and silver absolutely gives you. Keep talking about it, but it's true. It is your hedge to what's going on right now. And again, especially with the Fed and what they're doing. So this topic, it's always heated. Gerald from the start, he wasn't into the pandemic narrative. And you guys can't discuss this. I'm sure everyone has a view, but I want to go back to something interesting that Gerald brought up with Australia. And I saw a comment earlier on where something like Australia is doomed or something like that, having a rough time. So let me touch on Australia a bit. From what I understand, it's already using drones or going to use drones to see who is wearing a mask and who is not. And even if that mask is being worn properly, um, if there are any guys from Australia out there, just chime in because we need to know also, if news is just being overly sensational as a lot of times it may be. So feel free to chime in. But here's what's also happening in Australia, and this is coming from Gerald's Trends Journal. A few points. Australia's four biggest banks took away 2,150 ATMs in second quarter. They've closed some 175 branches in the past 12 months. And the long-term downward trend in the use of cash will continue. So where did this come from? Well, it came from Gerald's Trends Journal, where I read it from. But the person who said it, the source, is Tony Rickards, the head of payments for the Reserve Bank of Australia. He would know. Are we going cashless due to the bug? It sort of looks like that. And not sort of, it definitely does look like that. So Australia seems to be making a move, taking away ATMs, closing down branches. You really got to wonder, what's going on. You got to wonder what's going on down under, right? So let me take a look at a few of the comments, see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. Yeah, fat vegan. The house is on fire, but it's okay. It's just fine. Again, this is why you really need to pay attention, and as Gerald says, think for yourself because it's very hard to make sense of what's going on nowadays, and it's really left up to you to make sense of what's going on. And again, a lot of it is because of what central banks. A lot of it is because of what central banks are doing. So when you look at those things from Australia, again, if it's true, it would be good to have some guys from Australia if they could chime in on that, if it really is true. But it does look it's a bit concerning, if at the very least. Uh, Bron, Bron Sucheki, welcome. Oh, let me get your comment back up there. Welcome, Bron Sucheki, past guest. He's been a guest a few times on SBTV. If you want to know anything about Australia, ask Bron. Here he is. Cash use in Australia has been going down for a while. Okay, but I guess in some ways it's a natural thing. I mean, we've all been moving over more to credit cards, things like that. But I mean, to see the ATMs being pulled, I think that's a little bit of a different look on it. Why so much ATM? Why so many ATMs? Why are they being removed? Why are the banks closing down? Usages of drones and things like that. Ron, glad you're here. Didn't even know you were on. Glad you could be here. So let me take a look at another thing that Gerald Celente had said.
Things are falling apart very fast and very hard. And so gold and silver, precious metals, are going to be precious because they're going to come up with new currencies. They're going to be digital currencies backed by nothing, printed on nothing, and worth nothing. They'll come up with a new currency. We're going to replace the lira in Turkey. We're going to replace the real in Brazil. We're going to replace the dollar in America. We're going to replace the yen, the yuan, the euro. We're coming up with we're going to name it something new. We're going to make it digital because you don't want to touch that dirty money. You're going to die. You're going to die if you touch that money. We've only been touching it forever, but you're going to die now. You're going to die. We got new cases. People touch money. Oh, new cases. Hide under the table, you know. They're going to come up with something new because these currencies that they have aren't worth anything. They're worth nothing. It started in America in January. The deficit may hit $1 trillion this year. We may be in $1 trillion deficit. It's going to be a $4 trillion deficit now. And now all your tax income coming in is down in the toilet because businesses are out of business. People are broke. Tax revenues aren't coming in. And you're going deeper in debt? Gold and silver.
Yeah, gold and silver, just like Gerald said, and a little birdie told me a digital currency would have to be backed by gold and silver. And I think that is true. Reason being, you know, I don't believe it's possible to go from one fiat unbacked to another fiat, even though it's digital, that's still unbacked. I mean, by the time we make that transition over, you're going to have a lot of people who have simply lost confidence in anything that central banks are doing. They're going to want, probably even demand, that this new currency be backed. And historically, if it is backed, you're looking at something like gold. So let's move on, see what a few more of these comments are. Um, let's see. Polly, Adelaide is fine so far. So hope it stays fine. You know, we really hope it stays fine for you out there. Um, Another one, Josh Kent, Australia has been proceeding to a cashless society rapidly, even before the bug. Okay, it's good input, ground input. So okay, it's been moving steadily further and further to be cashless. Okay, it's always interesting to get people's perspectives who are always there because again, sometimes as mentioned, sometimes news can be very very sensationalist. So I do appreciate the comments from people down there in Australia who know exactly what's going on. One Royal Wolf, Prime Minister also said vaccines won't be mandatory, but there will be penalties if you don't get it. Yeah. Everyone's different. Everyone is different. Some guys feel very strongly about that, where we should have one, and some guys feel very strongly that we shouldn't. Um, it's a debate that's it's going to go on and on and on up until that the time comes. But people do feel very strongly about it. If we open up that debate here, we're never going to be able to end the program. But it's just something to keep an eye on, definitely for sure. So let me go through a bit more of these comments here, see what else is out there. Okay. All right. So I guess we're fine with that. Hang on. One Royal Wolf. One more comment. ATMs and banks are closing down or being removed fairly regularly in Australia. Okay. Started in rural areas, but it's happening everywhere now. Okay, so maybe it's accelerated a bit, but so it's been happening for a while. So should we link this to COVID or not link it to the bug or going cashless? The dirty money, as Gerald said. Okay, great points. I appreciate that. Really do appreciate it. So when it comes to gold and silver, though, as Gerald said, it's where money should go. Gerald is looking at a number, excuse me, around 100 per ounce for silver. And from his trends journal, he's saying that if gold can stabilize at 2,000, then we'll be looking at $40 or higher silver. So what we're going to need is that $2,000 gold. Once we get that, then we should hopefully have silver at $40 or higher, and hopefully they can maintain these levels. A past guest we had on, Chris Vermeulen, this is from his website technicaltraders.com. Look for platinum to rally following gold. I'll just get to the meaty part here where he's giving his projections on silver. Let me see if I can find it here. There you go. Get ready because this could be one of the biggest upside price moves in precious metals that anyone has ever seen since the 2003 to 2010 rally. This might push gold above 7,500 per ounce and may push platinum above 3,400 per ounce. And guess where silver prices should be at? Those levels will give you a hint. Somewhere north of $125 per ounce. So that's coming from former guest Chris Vermeulen from technicaltraders.com. He's looking at 125 an ounce. Celente is looking at 100 plus an ounce. And I think that's about what most of us are looking at as well. Something easily north of 50, 75 an ounce. And when you look at where silver is today, it's got a long way to go. It's got a long way to go to get there. But the way it's been moving, it can get there in a pretty short time. And if it does get there in a pretty short time, I'm pretty certain you can expect some pretty severe shortages with silver, trying to obtain it. So again, if you can, definitely consider getting it now. So that was Chris Vermeulen and Gerald Celente both chiming in on silver price. So the thing is, we're all adults, okay? We know that chaos is around us. And a lot of it is caused by what's going on with central banks. I mean, let's just be honest about it. 3 or 4 times Gerald pointed out gold and silver. Now, whether it was because of the money printing, debt, fake markets, whatever it is, Gerald does believe gold and silver are a good place to be, as does a lot of us, as do a lot of us here. And again, it's because of the hedge against inflation, which the Fed is going to let happen, and all that money printing that's going on against things like, if China does go ahead and dump all their treasuries, things like that, you're going to need a hedge against the dollar. That's without a doubt. You're going to need a store of wealth. You are going to need a store of wealth. And again, that's why we look at things like gold and silver. It's more than just the price. Can't stress that enough. Now, note, this is not financial advice, professional or otherwise. I'm simply saying what people do, including myself, or what investors do in times like this, in times like we are exactly in now, when you have some type of a systemic event knocking on the door. You want to start talking to companies now that do specialize in systemic wealth protection, like silver bullion. We have a lot of things that can help you through it. I do believe we will have a new monetary system. I think most people do. And it will come, as I've been saying, either through evolution peacefully or revolution, which may not be so peaceful. And again, this is not just in the States. This is all over. I mean, when you think about the yellow vests, what was going on in Argentina, Venezuela, what was going on in Libya, so many different countries, what was going on in, again, France, as I mentioned. A lot of people in a lot of countries just are not happy with the way things are going. It's a global thing right now. It's not just the U.S. thing. Don't get boxed into thinking it's just the U.S. thing. It's happening all over. When you have these things happening all over, it is going to bring in a lot of instability. And because it's not just in the U.S., it's instability everywhere, again, which is all the more you should be having some gold and silver without question. The markets are disconnected from reality. We go over this week in and week out. People are moving out of big cities to disconnect, shield themselves with money, or get away from a reality that will be for many, but not for all. They understand wealth protection, and we all need to understand wealth protection, and they understand the incredible taxes being planned or implemented. They understand the inflation that the Fed is going to welcome and embrace. So they already understand that, and it's something we all need to understand as well. And I think a lot of us do. You guys are some pretty smart guys out there. You know what's going on. You absolutely know what's going on already. Um, let's take a look at a few comments before I continue. I don't want to lose anybody or maybe something good that someone had to say. Uh, but again, you have to know what's going on, and you have to get your compass squarely pointed in the right direction to understand what's going on. And so these people leave the big cities. They have options. They have options, and this is something we talked about before, where we need to have options. All of us need to have options, and we got to put ourselves in a better position. And one of those better positions that we can put ourselves in is we have to somehow work our way out of the financial system we're in. Remember, we've talked about, you got to have one foot in. This is the current financial monetary system we're in. So you got to keep one foot in there, but as best you can, try and put one foot out or keep one foot out. Um, Things like, again, gold and silver, real hard liquid assets. I mean, this is going to be your insurance, your hedge for everything governments and central banks are maliciously. I don't know if that's the right word, but how else should you word it? But everything that they're doing, and again, this is all over the world. If you have if you have money, you're wealthy, understand where the markets are at, the disconnect. Understand that you need to have some type of a vehicle to get whatever it is you work for, all that you work for, to get it from this current system into the next system. Having it in anything paper or any type of fiat currency or something that's denominated or its exit is into a fiat currency may not be the best thing. I mean, especially if you worked hard all your life, you're on the fence about gold and silver, you're not sure, really what you should do. Just consider it being a vehicle to get from where we are today to where we're headed to tomorrow. You want to make sure that things retain value because fiat currencies always go back to zero. That is not going to retain value. Anything denominated in dollars or currencies, it's not going to retain the value. So you want to be in real hard liquid assets that can store value and move you from here to there. So if you worked all your life and you've had a have a good amount, a fair amount, you want to protect that. Us regular guys, average Joes, you got to protect yourself as well. Things like your 401k. Market goes down, your 401k goes down. So you want to be talking to somebody about perhaps how to just get some information on precious metals, IRA, things like that. Um, you've again, we've all worked hard, and where things are today, it may seem okay. You may hear every day market hits an all-time high and things like that, but remember, so have the soup kitchens, so have people who need food. They are at all-time highs as well. Unemployment is at about Great Depression levels. So there is that gap, and you need to again protect yourself. Just make sure that you're able to move from here to there. So I want to talk about one more thing, the gig economy. I'll just roll one clip. I just want you to see where things are at right now, and you can form your own opinion on it.
What exactly is happening here?
So delivery drivers are basically staking out these routes by trying to get as close to Whole Foods as possible. And the phones are what Amazon system looks for when it assigns routes. If it has a route that has to be done immediately, it is looking for drivers that are close by. So these drivers are combining both a phone in the tree to have the closest proximity to Amazon, along with some sort of like software running on the device to snag the route as soon as it becomes available.
Wow. What is Amazon saying about this?
Amazon didn't talk to us about this. We did see a note that they sent to a driver. So some drivers are concerned because they feel like if they're not in on this plot, then they're losing work. It's some people are benefiting and others are missing out, and they have complained. And we saw an email that Amazon sent in response to those drivers, just saying that they'd investigate the matter, and if there are any intermediaries, trying to game its system, that's a violation of their policies. But they said that they would not be able to divulge whatever they determine from their investigation with the drivers. So the drivers are frustrated, just saying it just continues to happen, and Amazon doesn't seem to be doing anything about it.
Well, it's certainly a very creative solution, but also a sign of some of the desperation out there and how desperate some people are to get work. How were you alerted to this story?
Yeah, so definitely, and this is the gig economy, correct? So it's not like an hourly worker who's getting paid even when the shift is a little slow. These are people who only get paid if they get the Amazon delivery job, and so they're sitting there and looking for any way possible to get that job, which could pay as little as $15. And so it is kind of a sign of the times, and it's also shows how the gig economy, particularly in a tough, bleak job market, the people with the work really benefit because they'll have big lines of people waiting to get that work, and it doesn't hurt Amazon to have a bunch of people milling around outside Whole Foods waiting to get a delivery route. It doesn't cost Amazon a nickel, and then it makes their deliveries faster.
Okay, no, cell phones, mobile phones do not grow on trees. If you see them, you go to parking lots and you see mobile phones in the tree, that's probably the reason. It's probably the reason. Jerry Lisby, if gold and silver doesn't work, nothing will. That is true. Historically, money pretty much always starts off being backed by things like gold and silver. Doris White, silver is still very undervalued. That is true. Silver's all-time high was about $50, 50 US dollars an ounce. We're just a little bit over halfway, so there's a lot more room for silver, a lot more upside on silver right now. Gold has already hit its all-time highs, but silver, a lot more upside. So again, it's something you really want to understand when it comes to gold and silver. Brandon Smith, silver is financial system kryptonite. It's been said, it's well said. A lot of times we hear this, and again, it's because this is something that stores value. Just like gold, it stores value. It can help you move from here to there. And again, something you definitely want to understand and learn about. It's not just the price. It's not just the price. So again, great comments from you guys. Let me just take a look at a few more things, and then I'll be heading out. I know it's getting a bit late for some of you. Carl Sittler, going to hold you to this, my man. 15,000 gold and 1,500 silver after the stock market crash. I'm going to write that down in my notebook, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Gotta imagine though, what kind of world is it going to be if it gets to that amount? Okay, so let's see. All right, so you guys are doing okay. That looks good. Appreciate that. So again, as always, appreciate your comments because there are guys who are out there on the fence who are trying to understand things like gold and silver, and your comments, it can make or break their decision. And this is something, people have made a lot of money in the markets. Without question, they've made their money there. So when you talk to them about gold and silver, rightfully the thing in their head is, I made a lot of money here in the markets. Why should I move into gold and silver? And my answer would be like what a lot of very wealthy people tell me: there's a time to make money, and then there's a time to protect what you made. And this surely looks like it's a time to start protecting what you made. So with that, I'll wrap it up. I do appreciate you guys being here and spending time with me, helping each other out, because we're all in this boat together. Do your best to be a blessing, not a burden. We need to be as much of a blessing as we can, because a lot of people, they're struggling. A lot of people are going to struggle, and we got to do what we can as best we can. So with that, saddle up for what's coming ahead, and silver up as well. And I will see you next week. Take care, everyone.